Hey everyone, it's Greg again. Another edition of Unbreakable, and it's Saturday, September 23rd, officially the first day of fall. Happy fall, everyone. Uh, it's a very rainy, damp, cold day here in eastern Pennsylvania. Um, Seems like summer has flown away, not only on the calendar, but in the weather department too. We went from warm, sunny days to bleak, rainy, damp, cool. Bleh, bleh. Anyway, I wanted to pick up from yesterday. Yesterday we were talking about a new term that I've just heard of, interabled couples. That's where one person in a relationship has a disability and the other person doesn't. And the reason I brought this up was I was reading a little story about this couple online, young couple, about 30-ish, who are cataloging their experiences of being an interabled couple in videos and blogs. And they're receiving a little bit of um, pushback, thinking, well, that can't be true. Uh, you really don't see this very often. She is beautiful. She is a beautiful girl. Uh, she's too beautiful for him. He's in a wheelchair. He has a spinal condition, and a lot of rude comments and things like that. So I just wanted to comment. Yesterday I was talking a little bit about my history, and when I started dating in the '80s, it just worked out that all the girls that I dated were able-bodied. So all of my relationships have been interabled ones. And it's funny because in the past, it was almost like a expectation, I'll put it that way, that because I had a disability, I should look for someone else with a disability. Um, and that's not always true. I mean, if someone else has a disability who we are friends and we have things in common and it turns into a romantic relationship, sure. I mean, as to me, it's as long as you're in love, what does it matter, right? Well, it just happened that the people that I connected with did not have a disability. Uh, so we talked a little bit about that kind of history, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about Holly, who is a person I met all back in 2015. Now, there had been a dry spell of me in relationships. I was kind of soured on that because I was in a relationship with a former pen pal, and we got to be friends and more than friends, and it was really cool. But in the end, to make a long blog short, it didn't work out. So I had sort of cooled on the idea of ever finding anyone special again. Um, and a lot of other things were going on in my life. My mom was sick and she ended up in a nursing home and she passed away. And so other things were on my mind. After she died, however, I was lonely and, you know, just like everyone else, you need companionship, company, someone you can talk to, someone you could be friends with, and yes, someone you could grow into a relationship with. Um, at one point I was actively looking, and since it's hard for me to get around, and I don't do bars or anything like that, I thought of other places to go, like supermarkets, bookstores. You could meet people, but where do you really go to meet someone? Especially around my age and in my situation. So I I started looking online, and really have too much success. I would post a profile, and I would always be honest about the fact that I do get around via chair, and but I wouldn't get very many replies. So, but just so happened this one New Year, it was 2015. We went from 14 to 15. It was New Year's Day, and I had just come back from a brunch over at my brother's house. And I was tired, so I just hung around for the rest of the day, watched football, and started to, rested for work the next day, back to work after the holidays. Um, so guess what? I was watching the Sci-Fi Channel of all things, and I never watched the Sci-Fi Channel, but I was watching it that day, that evening, specifically because of the Twilight Zone marathon. How many of you remember the Twilight Zone? Great show. Rod Serling. I loved it, still love the Twilight Zone. And they usually on the holidays, 4th of July, Labor Day, New Year's, they do Twilight Zone. So marathon on the Sci-Fi Channel back in the day. And so I had it on. I was half listening to it and half doing other things. And all of a sudden, this commercial comes on. And it was about a senior dating site online. And I was half paying attention. It's like, I got the details, it was people over 50, I believe, or 55, and blah, 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 the same spiel. So I said, I've been through that too before. I don't know if I want to go through that, again. But the first month was like, I don't know if it was free or whether it was $29.99, something like that. Anyway, and I'm really bad at remembering things. My memory is really poor. And even back then, 8 years ago. But I remembered the address, and I thought, what the heck, I slept on it, and the next day I got up real early for work, like I usually did, 5 o'clock or so, and I said, I'm going to give it a try. So I went to the site, checked it out. Make a long story short, I created a profile all before work. I wrote a short blurb about me, and what I like to do, music, sports, blah, 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 and included a picture. I think it was me in a suit and a tie at work. I got an award for something, county employee of the month, something like that. And I put it up. So I thought, okay, I'll try it for a month. If I get a response or two, cool. If I don't, well, at least I tried. So the whole month went through, end of January. I only had a few days to go in the month and wasn't getting any replies, hardly at all. And sad, depressed, lonely, decided, frustrated, said, this isn't going to work. Once the few days wind down, I'm off the site. I'm out of here, and I'm just going to resign myself to being alone, for the rest of my life. Well, here I got an answer. And it's from this nice lady who lived not far from me. It's one of the things I was looking for, someone who didn't live too far. I had it with long distance romances. They don't work out. So I said, no, I'm going to look for someone. I know I was limiting my options, but I said, look for someone who's local. So I got this reply from this lady who was a widow and around my age, and she was local. And she was very interesting, liked my profile, liked my blue eyes. So I answered her, and we went back and forth. When I got home from work that day, uh, I checked my email, and she answered my answer. And we started corresponding back and forth for about a week or so. I got up the nerve to ask for her phone number, or I gave her mine. I forget which is which. And this is something I was really smitten with her because she was just very interesting to talk to. She was pretty, but she was interesting to talk to. We had a lot in common. And the first time I ever talked to her on the phone, it was get this, it was the night before the Super Bowl that year. And we started talking around 7 o'clock at night. That was our generally our time when we would start talking. And I just loved talking to her so much that we didn't hang up till about 11 o'clock that evening, 4 straight hours. We had tons to talk about. And what convinced me that there was a chance that I might, progress with this relationship, this connection. Um, I said to her, I said, well, let's talk tomorrow. I couldn't wait to talk to her again. She said, okay. And I said, okay. So we made a date to talk at 7 o'clock again. Um, Little did I know, I forgot, it was the Super Bowl Sunday. And I always watch the Super Bowl, whether the Eagles are involved or not. So I thought, after I hung up, I thought, oh no, what the hell? Uh, I actually did think about calling her back and making some stupid excuse. But I didn't. I said, you know what? I'd rather talk to her anyway. And that earned me some brownie points in the end because uh, when she found out that I was bypassing the Super Bowl to talk to her instead, boy, was she impressed. So, and the rest is history. We talked even more, and we set a date to meet. Ooh, and we decided to meet on Saturday, February 14th, which was Valentine's Day. That was about 2 weeks after we had found each other, which was kind of eerie because my parents were married on Valentine's Day. I didn't know how much my parents were hopeless romantics, and I am too. Valentine's Day. So we planned to meet for the first time. Uh, she actually drove by my house a few days before because she was on her way to King of Prussia, and she intimated that she wanted to stop by and say hello. And I was in no position to say hello. I was like all disheveled, and I was, going back and forth trying to feed the dogs, feed myself. I was home after work. I wanted to beat her, but in another way too, I was scared. I just didn't want the old rejection thing of somebody who was really, uh, looking forward to meeting me after talking to me for a while. And then they end up seeing that, hey, you really are in a wheelchair. And then it kind of hits them. Because that's happened to me too. I've had people that I've talked to before, and you meet them and they see that you're in a wheelchair, not good. And I had one person, who actually came to the house, which I know isn't a good idea. You should meet in a neutral place. But for me, because it was hard for me to get around at that time, uh, anyway, he came to the house and met. And I knew it was awkward. I could tell. I could tell there was a problem because all of a sudden they become quiet. And she said, I need to run out. I forgot my cell phone in the car. Ran out, get her cell phone. We were sitting around in the living room just talking. And I heard the car pull away. She took off. So, those things happen. you know, it's just not the right one. And, what could I say? Could I blame someone? No. I just think reality, sometimes in situations like that, it's more of a fantasy kind of a thing. And then reality sets in, and, uh, so she bailed. Yeah. So I was afraid to meet Holly because, honestly, because I thought the same thing was going to happen again. But we decided on Valentine's Day, and blah, 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 still tongue tied over it. Uh, and it looked like it was going to happen because nothing changed throughout the week. We talked like we usually did, and we just look forward to Valentine's Day. And I'll tell you the rest next time, whenever that is, whether it be Monday, Tuesday, or whatever. But I will fill in the blanks about the first date with yours truly and Holly, and what happened after that. You'll want to tune into this next one. It's a juicy one. Anyway, you guys have a great Saturday and a great Sunday. I won't be here tomorrow because even God rested on Sunday. But I will be back early next week, Lord willing. And I'll see you guys then. So stay dry today if you're in the path of this tropical storm or whatever they're calling it. And have a great weekend. Okay. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Tell others about the show, how we try to spread some hope and some inspiration on the show, have some laughs too, and just talk between you and I, That's just talking. That's all it is. So, so have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Okay, everybody, take care. Thanks again. Bye bye.